Right, where do I start? Welcome, Palace to the Call. My name is Stephen Dawes, and today I'm talking about the Newcastle versus Crystal Palace game. If you haven't seen the game yet, do go and check it out and come back and listen to my review or whatever it is of this game. It's a game that if you listen to my previous video, you will understand that I said this is going to be a difficult game. Newcastle were playing very well. There were some very good players. They thumped PSG a little while ago, so their confidence is high and they're playing really well. So I knew this was going to be a very tough game for us. But when I heard that Doucouré and Lerma and Edouard were going to be back, I thought that that would be a good thing for us. I thought that we would be a lot more like our old selves, and I thought that we would be able to take the game to Newcastle a little bit and at least make a good game of it and make a good fight of it. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way, and first half in particular, I felt that we were. It's difficult to pinpoint it in specific words, but I felt as though there were too many of our players that just weren't hitting the ground running in that game. I don't think. Well, this is just my personal opinion. I have a suspicion that maybe Lerma, Doucouré, and perhaps even especially Edouard were not fit. They may have been clear of their injuries, but they may not have been fit because Lerma had a good game. I thought Lerma played well. Gave the ball away a couple of times, but generally I think he played well. Doucouré was a little bit quiet, although he didn't do anything wrong. Edouard for me was a little bit off the pace. He wasn't. I mean, he's not the fastest player in the world anyway, but I felt as though he wasn't really showing up for things. He was tried a couple of times to make things work, but I don't think he was really playing very well in the game against Newcastle. Of course, it's a very difficult situation because he and Mateta are up there, and basically they were living off scraps for most of the game. But yeah, I felt there were too many players not playing to the best of their abilities, and certainly in the first half. The first goal was a fluke. It was just a lobbed cross that was supposed to go over to the back post, and it went in. I think that's pretty much what it was. I don't think it was supposed to be a shot at goal. And so that was quite early on in the first half, and that was a bit disappointing. But in general terms, I felt that we were just under the cosh for the majority of the first half. We just couldn't get the ball, and when we did get it, we were giving it away, or we weren't doing very much with it. And that's the problem, I think, when we don't have a real out player, a player that we can give the ball to take the pressure off and to run at players. Zaha used to do that quite a lot. When we got the ball, especially Anderson used to ping it out to him, and he used to hold the ball up and do his little shimmies and or run at the defenders and take a bit of pressure off us, further back. We don't really have that at the moment. Elise and Eze are both still injured, so I think one of those would probably have done a similar role to that if they had been fit. Now, of course, we did a couple of times play the ball up to Edouard, but if you're playing the ball over the top of him, he's not the fastest. He's certainly not fast. Wasn't any faster than the fullbacks that they had and the centre backs that they had. He wasn't any faster than them. And also, sometimes we'd be picking the ball up to Mateta to hold up and bring players in. But firstly, he wasn't always holding the ball very well, and secondly, there was no one running on for him to pass to. So it was a little bit of a fruitless task, really, trying to get the ball up to them. We didn't really have an outlet, and a couple of times I felt that was the case. We didn't really have anyone that once we got the ball we could give it to, and particularly down our right hand side, I felt that we were having a few problems. I felt because we had down our left hand side, because you had Mitchell down the left hand side, and Edouard, I think, was supposed to be tracking back, looking after Trippier. He wasn't tracking back much at all, and when he wasn't really looking at Trippier or trying to pick him up. So of course Trippier had, for the majority of the first half, the run of that side of the pitch, and they were pinging balls out to him. He was running at Mitchell. They had other players running at Mitchell, and of course he can't do it all on his own. And Edouard wasn't really helping out very much, so I think that was a bit frustrating. On the other side, you had AU and you had Ward, and they were a much better combination. They were working really well together. as AU was going back and tracking back and helping out defensively. And so down that side of the pitch, we had almost no trouble at all. It was down this side with Trippier that they were having most of their attacks from. Of course, another thing which Johnston's a great keeper. He's been really good for us this season. But one of the things I think I would like him to do a bit more is command his box a bit more. There were times when they were pinging the ball into the box, and he was leaving it to the defence to deal with, which is fine. I mean, he's been told to do that, but I would like to see him come out and command the box a bit more, come and claim crosses, come and punch the ball more. Because we know how it works in the football world. If the goalkeeper gets attacked, not attacked, but if he gets fouled, then the foul goes to the goalkeeper. So he's got protection there from the referee. So I don't see why he couldn't have come out and claimed a bit more of the ball there. But that's only a small issue that I have with Johnston at the moment, certainly in this game. And really, you can't really fault him for any of the goals. They were all good goals, apart from the first one, which is a fluke. I think that it would have been nice for him to. And I think the fullbacks and the centre backs would have liked it a bit more if he had come to claim the ball as well. But again, that's just one of my little things that I've got going on there. But also, there was one thing which I picked up on, which again, it might just be me. It might just me being overcritical. I mean, Mark Gahey has been fantastic this season, and has been, well, since he started at Palace. He's been fantastic. He and Anderson have got a fantastic bond, a fantastic relationship in the middle there, and they're doing really well. But one of the things I felt was a little bit weird was, I think it was I can't remember if it was a second or third goal now, but he collected the ball outside the box, and he kind of controlled it. It kind of bounced off him a little bit, fell to the Newcastle player who got past him, and Gahey ended up on the floor. And he just sat there and turned around and watched him running away and then scoring the goal. Now, I know there wasn't a huge amount of distance between him and the goal at that point, but I would have preferred to have seen Gahey get up and sprint back into the box to try and either stop him from taking the shot, which he probably wouldn't have been able to do. But he didn't know that he was going to score. Johnston could have saved it. A defender could have blocked it. It could have come to him. He may have needed to clear it. So that was a little bit of an issue for me. I don't know why he did that, but I think he's his own biggest critic. He gets very frustrated with his game if he's not playing well. So maybe there was a bit of that creeping in. But that was just another thing that I picked up on that I wasn't entirely pleased with. Second half, obviously we went in at the break 3-0 down. Second half, it came out a lot better. Now obviously you have to think about the fact that were Newcastle just taking their foot off a little bit. I think there probably was a little bit of that. They weren't quite as pressing, weren't quite as driven as they were in the first half. But I think we did up our game a little bit. I think AU was swapped over onto Mitchell's side of the pitch, and I think he did a lot better there. We saw a lot less of Trippier in the second half. Again, might have been because he was just taking his foot off, but he certainly didn't pose as much of a threat in the second half as he did in the first half. And I also felt that we were passing the ball better. We were keeping the ball a bit better, and but there wasn't enough urgency for me. I would like to have been a little bit more urgent going forward. We were passing backwards a bit too much again, but then, we are trying to a bit of damage limitation. Plus, obviously, we want to try and get a goal ourselves, and that kind of led to the fourth goal when we were trying to push forward, and then the ball came back to Newcastle and they pinged it forward, and he managed to get in behind the defenders and score the goal. I mean, there was 2 against 1. There was 2 defenders against him, and he still managed to get the goal, which is again a little bit disappointing. But I think a lot of that was because we were pushing forward, trying to get something ourselves. Then Raksaki came on for Mateta, and I thought he actually played really well out there on the right hand side. I thought that he was looking for the ball, he was trying to work with it, he was coming in to get the ball and link up with people. I thought that he had a really good game actually, and he actually had a shot as well, which was great to see. And I thought he actually didn't play too badly at all. We also got the debut of Mateus França, which is great to see him on the pitch, and I thought he didn't do badly either. I felt that he was he was quite energetic. He wanted to get the ball, he wanted to be involved in the play, and I thought that he actually had pretty decent game. I mean, obviously it's his first game. He didn't have that much time to play with, so it's obviously going to be a little bit difficult for him to make any kind of impression. But I don't think he played that badly at all. So, and it also gave Raksaki and França gave Newcastle something else to worry about, because they weren't particularly worried about Mateta and Edouard. They didn't seem to be particularly worried about them. But when França and Raksaki came on, it gave them a bit more to worry about, because they're a different type of player. So, second half I think we were a lot more in the second half. Whether that was because we were playing better, which I think we were, partly because Newcastle had probably taken their foot off the pedal. That's pretty much my thoughts on the game. Disappointing, yes. Unexpected, probably not, because, as I said, Newcastle are playing very well at the moment, and I don't think we're going to be the only team that's going to be on the end of a drubbing from Newcastle this season. But it would have been nice to have given a bit more in the first half, and perhaps prevent a couple of those goals going in at least. But that is my two penneth worth on this particular game. I'd love to have your thoughts down in the comment section, as always, how you felt we played, how you felt França played, how you felt he did well as well. So let me know down in the comments what you think. It's been a bit of a long episode today, but there was a lot to pack in. And don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff if you want to see more of my content, and I will see you next time.